Hi, this is Chuck Mason with St. Croix Rods. I'm down in Michigan over by Lake Erie, and I fished the Michigan Walleye Tour where I had the opportunity this year to use St. Croix's newest addition to the Eyecon series, their heavy metal rod. It's a 5'8" rod. It's got a lure rating of 3/8 to 1 ounce. It's got a heavy power with a fast tip. That combination of power and action really performs a lot like some of the extra fast tips that I've got on my other jigging rods from St. Croix. Now, our first two stops this year were on the Detroit River in April and the Saginaw River in May, where I got to use the rod quite a bit. And even though the lure rating says 3/8 to 1 ounce, I was able to go above and below without losing any of the effectiveness or feel of the rod. Under the Ambassador Bridge on the Detroit River, I was able to use this 1.25 ounce hair jig that I got tied up. And I like those bigger, bulkier presentations in that 40 to 60 feet water. Normally, though, we're going to be using 3/4 and 1 ounce combinations with either a minnow or, in this case, this Wyandotte worm, which is used a lot in Michigan, sometimes by itself, sometimes by putting a live minnow or a dead minnow on it, depending if you're fishing the U.S. or the Canadian side. Now, the slack water areas behind some of the islands, I'm able to drop down to this 5/8 presentation with a split tail minnow. And that's because the Detroit River usually flows 7 to 12 miles an hour. And then I could take this up to Saginaw, where the water flow is like 4 to 6. And this would be a heavy or a fast current presentation. 5/8 split tail. Now the rod, like I said, I use the 1.25 ounce, but this presentation is a 5/16 ounce jigging Rapala. It's a really highly effective bait on the Saginaw River, and I could feel everything. And if I was ice fishing with some of my avids, I would say I could see it or feel it dancing around in the hole. Well, there's no holes when you're in a boat, so I can still feel this. I can feel it on the drop. I can feel it as it swings out from the center of the presentation. And behind the bridges, behind the warship that's up there, it's a destroyer. And some of the flats along the train bridges and those type of areas, this jig and Rapala is a really, really sweet presentation. Now, this rod was introduced at ICAST this summer. So you guys really didn't get to hear about it too much, but I had it in my hands last December, and I fell in love with the rod. It's everything the people that fish river systems want. It's got the capacity to go a little heavier. It's got the backbone to set the hook. You know, sometimes we hook into a sturgeon on the Detroit River or a 35-pound flathead on the Saginaw River. This rod's going to handle that even though we're targeting walleye when we're hoping for that 12-pounder. It's going to be available this year in all your box stores, your Cabela's, your Bass Pros, and your local retailers also. And if they carry St. Croix rods and they're not having it, they can bring it in for you. So check it out. Come see me at the Novi show, or I'll be at Cabela's this year. You can ask me about the rod then also. Thanks a lot. I appreciate it.